Now, Andy Baker, the Amen break. Now, that's the most used and most sampled beat in the world. Now, what happened is that's G.C. Coleman's beat. Very sad story because he died homeless and broke in the mid-2000s and never received any due royalty for what is the most used beat. It's only about 5.5 seconds, and it's the middle break, a little drum break in the middle of the Winston's Amen Brother and all that. And essentially what it is a 16th, anyone else's 16th note rock beat. And what happened was it was put on a compilation in the mid-80s, mid-1980s, as just like a bit of a homage, I suppose, the 20 best drum beats in the world or something like that. And it was put on one of them. And at the same time as the first samplers were getting developed in the mid-80s. And because it was just a clean drum rhythm, it just took off. It went viral, that kind of thing. And with a sampler, of course, you can ratchet up the speed, you can bring the speed down, all of that sort of stuff. And then I'm going to bring in Scott Hayward. How are you? You've asked me about Chicago's classic 25 or 6/4, and that fancy little 16th note that the drummer Danny Serafini does, and all that to give it that real clip about it. So I'm going to explain both pretty much at the same kind of time. We know a thing in recording studios these days as quantizing. Okay, you can take anything digital and mix it around and do whatever you want with it and all that sort of stuff. But what happens is that when you're actually dealing with a beat of, say, 1, 2, 3, 4, metronomic time, what happens is what we're really talking about is the space in between each beat, right? So what happens is if you're playing a beat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Now, what can happen is you need to be in control of the in-betweens. And this is why it's so important to count aloud, because if you're going, oh, yeah, I think I got a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you wonder why you don't get gigs, But if you're actually sort of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1. And you're quantizing, right? Now, the thing is, when you're dealing with personal quantizing, the in-betweens of the numbers, like if you're dealing with a crotchet, 1, 2, 3, 4, what are you going to put in between? Are you going to put in quavers? Therefore, it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Notice the emphasis, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. If you're going to swing it, it could well be triplets. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1, 2 to 3 to 4 to 1. If you're going to be a little bit more bitey, 16th notes, right? 1 and 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a... Oh, I'm playing Smoke on the Water now. There you go. And then that's the space in between, okay? Okay, the beats and all that. Now what you want is the level between the beats. Now I've got a little thing that I talk about with my students sometimes called popping the accents. Because what you can have is you could have it fairly plain. That's okay, it's correct, it's all that, but it's, it's plain, sort of thing. But if you're going to pop the accent like on 2 and 4, and now Magda, I can bring you in because the other week you were asking me about ghost notes, and that's exactly what I'm doing. Little peppery fellas in between the main backbeat and all that sort of stuff. And what I'm doing is I'm putting a little bit of a rim shot in there for the 2 and the 4, or particularly any of the particular accents. Now, the Amen break, G.C. Coleman, is arguably the most important beat in contemporary music because it's been sampled forever, right? Now, the thing about it is you can also play it, of course, you know. Now, that's not the amen break anymore. It's a homage to the amen break. Did you notice that I was putting the hi-hat on the offbeats, basically? So if I'm playing a basic beat, notice that what I'm doing with even my voice, right? Notice that you've got that little chugga-lugga-ticka-ticka-ticka. And look, doesn't that sound, can you see the origins, right? Do you see how it works? Do you see? Everything's connected, you see. So that's what goes on there. Now, when you've got a handle on things like that, what starts to happen is that you can take things like the amen break and all that, and then ratchet it up, bring it, you know, make it quick. That's how drum and bass started to happen, you know, like the prerequisite is to have 6 cups of coffee and so. One of the greats for this is David Bowie's drummer on the Earthling album, Zach Alford. Is that Zach Alford was basically, you know, amen breaking with 4 litres of coffee, you know. And there's a lot of paradiddles in there, right? Very syncopated too. So that's the influence of the amen break. I'll play it very, very slow. That's what it is, you see. It's all over YouTube. Just go and just type it in. You'll get 100 drummers doing the amen break. But I wanted to do something that's slightly different by bringing in the influence and the timeline, because that goes to you, Andrew, about the origins of drumming and all that. Well, this is an origin of the style. Now.